Hello, this is Frank Neely from HeartlandDiaryUSA.com, bringing you news every conservative can use. Subscribe to my YouTube channel to stay up to date. Well, one day ago, the President of the United States commuted and pardoned sentences for a number of different criminals, including former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, a Democrat who now is calling himself a Trumpocrat. Blagojevich was swept up in a political scandal that really centered on Barack Obama and his administration trying to get the right person appointed to the U.S. Senate after Obama went to the White House. Blagojevich didn't just let himself be pushed around, and instead he wound up the victim. Now, 10 years after being in prison, President Trump has released him. He had a lot to say today in a press conference in Chicago, much of it incredibly touching. This ending of the statement by Blagojevich is a heartfelt and warm tribute, not just to President Trump, but to his fellow prisoners and to those who suffer adversity across the country for many reasons. Listen and be inspired.
Everyday people who find themselves caught up in the system have no chance, and many of them recognize the futility in fighting for their rights, so they just give in. And under duress, because they're being threatened with long sentences, they agree to plead guilty to things they didn't do. Unfair and cruel over-sentencing is the rule, it's not the exception. Equal protection under the law doesn't exist. Wildly unfair disparities in sentencing for the same or similar offenses are not uncommon and defy common sense. And in way too many cases, way too many non-violent offenders are given way longer prison sentences than violent offenders and sex offenders who've actually caused great physical and emotional harm to their victims. It is a broken criminal justice system, and it has been for a long time.
That's right.
And it's a racist criminal justice system. But there's hope. And one of the great ironies of history is that so far up till now, in the history of our country, no one has done more or is currently working to do more to fix this broken and racist criminal justice system than President Trump and Jared Kushner.
That's right.
One last thing. I'm going to dab this blood again. Am I good?
Just keep doing it. It'll be fine.
All right. I just feel them on me.
Yeah.
I'd like to say something about adversity. And I'd like to direct my remarks to all of my fellow underdogs out there who find themselves up against powerful forces and long odds. To anyone facing hard circumstances, who've suffered loss, are hurting, or who, like me, have hit rock bottom. You may be down. All your hope may seem to have disappeared. The road you have to travel is a long one, and home, that's where you want to be, is so far away you can't even see the flicker of a light at the end of the tunnel. But don't give up. Don't give up. Think of the people you love. I'll get it out. Hang on. Think of the people you love. That's where you'll find your purpose. My love for my family and my faith in God is what sustained me during this long and seemingly never-ending trial. It gave me purpose to stay strong and, along with Patty, to try to set the right example for our daughters, to show them that when adversity enters your life, even when your calamity comes on like a whirlwind, and just about everything has been taken away from you, and your heart's broken. Don't quit. Fight. Keep fighting and persevere in storms and through the dark passages, and when you find yourself alone, all alone, in the lonely wilderness. Because it is there in that lonely wilderness where we are tried and tested that we must rise to our circumstances. We must rise above our circumstances and dare to dream. It is not an ending, but a beginning. For out of weakness, we are made strong. Every mile I ran, every push-up I did, every book I read, every word I wrote was my way of fighting back, my way of using the time in the wilderness to prepare for a better day. Waiting in the shadows, waiting for justice, waiting and hoping.
That's right.
So live in faith, hope, and love. Vivir con fe y esperanza y amor. And if you have to, take a stand. And don't be afraid. You're not alone. You never go alone.
That's right.
It is so often the case that in the sadness of life, we look for God. My faith in him turned despair into hope and made me strong. Trusted that one day, through the grace of God, he would turn darkness into light and lead me home. Thank you.
Make Chicago great.